Well, hello, welcome again. Today we're going to discuss the syllabus of this entire endeavor. So I'm going to list some topics and some concepts that you need to become very versed in. It's just not understanding, but you need to become conscious of certain things. I'm sorry for doing that. The thing is that these movies cannot be scripted. I cannot write a script and address you from a script, so that would be easier for me to communicate with you. Unfortunately, part of it is spirit, so part of it is my experience, and part, what's in here, here, okay, not lower, but the hard part, that need to come in congruence with all of this. And problematic thing is that I can anticipate your doubts, and I can anticipate doubts and anticipate effects that certain things will have on people. So please forgive me. I've been around, I've probed, people in terms of their readiness for the spirit, and unfortunately the results are just catastrophic. It's a catastrophe. Okay. Hey, welcome to the Temple of Truth. I am not going to, do the wishy-washy kind of, put the wool over your eyes and things like that. No. We're going to discuss it straight out. The thing is, one of the important things in Christianity is confession. As a matter of fact, of confession, meaning that you will express the truth, which is difficult for you. Okay. And you're doing it to a priest. The confession was not only to the priest, it only, the priest was only the difficult part. If nobody could have helped you on the way, and then you keep going up the ladder of wisdom and going, first you start with your friends, with somebody from the church. You just grab somebody, just somebody was walking and you say, brother or sister, I have a confession to make. That means you want to talk about very difficult things for you. Everything, okay? So very early Christianity had a totally different concept. Somebody, stopping in the church and saying, sister, I'm a man, you're a woman, I need to confess about certain things and difficulties I have with my wife of sexual nature, right? So maybe you can help me with that, okay? So it's the attitude and the intentions. Normally when a man today will do that, obviously there is the wrong intention behind it, because he's stopping a woman to actually engage her in certain type of a conversation. So you will need to clear the intents, but you will have to first understand what they are. Psychology is not explaining that part of intelligence. It is still hidden from them. So the topics that you will need to really master, in my opinion, what's in my mind, we're going to discuss certain things in detail, but that's theory, so you will need to pursue certain steps in life. You will need to engage the truth, come to the moment of truth, as it is, proverbially known. You will need to face certain things in your life for real, not just, listen to it or read it when you write it in your exercises books. First concept is the original sin. You need to know it inside and out. You need to feel it. You need to just, breathe it, smell it from 100 kilometers away, okay? So this is one of the things that you're going to develop and grow. You can't change anything unless you come to knowledge of it, and one of those things that we truly want to change in our life is the original sin that is still in all of us, okay? It's a generational, it's like, DNA, it passes on its information. It's not what exactly the combination of those, just forgot what they called, right? But we have 4 different molecules that kind of will combine or will not combine. No, it's about the structure of this whole thing, of the DNA, even the RNA, because it's RNA from a man, RNA from a woman comes together to form a DNA. It's in shape of things. It hides itself deeply. Another metaphor that I can use is a computer. It's like a ROM chip. in us, okay? We are like the computer, we have a ROM chip that says to us, well, the software existence is like this because you have a processor, you have this processor, graphic processor, you have the, of course, the, you know, the main motherboard, how it is structured, how the information flows. ROM controls all of that. So this is original sin, and you need to come to a full awareness of what it is. Another topic of importance that I'm going to sum it up, and all the knowledge that is required to understand it, to feel it, and then pass it on, and you become, you know, hopefully you will become conscious of it, is the Ten Commandments. Ten Commandments is a hidden physics formula. As a matter of fact, if you look at, say, Einstein's general theory of relativity, you will look that, oh, man, that looks really simple, you know, it's just few letters, you know, just some multiplication signs and, you know, funny triangles, right, differentials. It's a differential equation, and there's funny notation, but there's not much to it, right? It's just few letters, numbers, and that's it, right? So it's kind of like very confusing that some scientists before computers actually, you know, used to work like 10 years on a specific area, on a specific solution for that equation. And that's what Ten Commandment is. It's a hidden physics formula. Now, this hidden physics formula is actually referring to intelligent beings as the tri-base intelligence forms, specifically based on those specific types of functions. Our intelligence has three specific functions which form a base to our intelligence, and this is exactly designed that way, okay? Is to hide through, you know, just simple everyday words, you know, thou shalt not steal, right? Oh, thou shalt not steal. But I will explain what is going on, because if you really know anything about Judaism, there's massive emphasis, you know, being put on metaphors, right? They understood that this is the truth, I mean, the Torah, or let's say Bible as a whole, because early Christians also understood that, that is about metaphors, and metaphors indicate pattern thinking. So that knowledge has been lost somehow, I don't know, through Christians. Yes, you are dealing with the truth, you know, kind of dressed in a metaphor, and that metaphor is dressed in a metaphor, right? It's like Christ's crucifixion, right? They took his coat, ripped it in half, they took something else, another piece of clothing, ripped it in half, and then there was this tunic or something very fine, made of very fine linen, and it was rimmed so it could not be torn, because otherwise, because if it's a really fine linen, you cannot tear it. All of that is a metaphor, right? It's real, but it's a metaphor. Things are kind of like engineered, and the Father shows that things are engineered, especially with the Moshe's curse, right? So suddenly, you know, just a little twitch in this whole design created a massive, massive disturbance in reality, and for years and years, for thousands of years. Okay, so when we have these three concepts, how can you possibly understand them? Well, first of all, you need to understand the intelligence that you possess. Okay, so we assume from the entry point that you're a tri-base intelligence form. As I said, the cornerstone that has been, you know, rejected talks about the fourth base. So it is the evolutionary instructions, right? How to evolve to become a quad-base intelligence form. So you're totally changing this brain thing into a totally different processor, and it's going to process information in somewhat very different, right, way from the rest of the people. So you have the flesh and you have those of the spirit. Those of the flesh think as of the flesh. They have a tri-base form of intelligence. You will need to become more. Okay, so as a matter of fact, just this one base implementation in your intelligence gives an instant growth, 11-fold of the being that you were before. It's 11 something. I'm not going to pull out now the math. So hey, it's a good thing, I think, right, to evolve in the way that Yeshua said. Now we have, all those different people who work for somebody else, and they kind of, issuing, kind of spreading a word of, evolution, of human evolution, how we can achieve wondrous things through, cybernetic augmentation and blah, blah, blah. Evolution has two directions. It has a horizontal direction and a vertical direction, but we also will come to it. So there's a lot of complex ideas that you need to master. So we need to go very simply, okay, very well, I don't know, no, it's not. Methodology is really okay. I mean, it's concept within concept within concept that's embedded in another concept that needs another concept that's on the side of it. If you have concept and a concept that you can jump simply from one concept to another, so the way you actually need to absorb information and learn is not exactly the way it is happening at universities, where they think, well, because we are speaking and it's a serial communication method, so we have to, as a, I don't know, some sort of a show of how intelligent, how wise we are, how we can put one thing after another, how one thing leads to another, and then suddenly, beautifully, we can emerge with the picture. I think that kind of way of thinking is totally unsuccessful. You need to kind of grab the concept, grow with the concept. It will become clearer. You will need to look at the concept from different angles, so you will need to shift your perspective from the given concept. The given concept becomes the truth. If you can, grab it from different angles, it becomes more true to the nature. You will come to see more of the truth of a given concept in front of you. Well, so to get the original sin, the 10 Commandments, and the lost cornerstone of the temple, what do we need, substantively speaking, let's say, on scientific terms, right? Because we do have that part which is A, which is your secular part. So what I can see, what I can touch, I will believe it if I see it. Okay, let's go with that, right? So I wanted to separate A as a Goya, pure, animal, pure flesh entity, how it perceives things and how it goes about their life or their existence, so to speak. All right. On scientific terms, unfortunately, we'll have to come up with a lot of new terminology. Okay, so we need to create new definitions for certain things, introduce certain new words. The thing is, I don't want to go, hula hoop, scientific. There's a lot of people who go, lift their hands, oh, the spirit and so on, and they kind of like justify through the spirit and so on, that the spirit is working with them. Yes, you believe me, oh yeah. Yeah, I don't believe myself, most of the time. Why should I believe a person like that, and why should you believe me? You should believe this is the only thing that you should believe, okay? You should not believe your father, your mother, your sister, your wife, your friends. Don't believe them. Believe this. That's a bit of an advice. So scientifically speaking, we need to come up with stringency that is required to master these concepts. So we will need to, well, generally speaking, rewrite all of the psychology, all of it, right? The Briggs now has become the big five, right? Model, personality model for psychology is the basis of understanding, human being, and you will quickly, will become aware how faulty all this. Briggs was, worthless as a base theory, and Big Five is just as worthless as Briggs theory. So you will have to go through an entire psychology thing, and we'll need to rewrite it. So if you're a psychologist, get yourself ready for rewriting the psychology, all right? Another thing is the philosophy. Now, very quickly, that we will need to change the philosophy, not to something new, but to something old that existed thousands of years ago. There was a philosophy. Philosophers have lost touch of it because it was universalism, I believe, and dogmatism, but dogmatism is very, very real. The basic concept of philosophy was that philosophy needs to address everything, which is visible, which is invisible, that which is human, that which is divine, right? Everything was one thing, okay? So the secular existed together with the spiritual, and they understood, the early philosophers, the early traditions of philosophy had a lot of knowledge that has, died, passed away, vanished throughout the years. And one of the greatest murderers of philosophy was Aristotle. He has killed philosophy, and I thought he was just an opportunist for many years. Then, accidentally I came across the letter between Aristotle and Alexander the Great. I suggest that you read it, that philosophers had a hidden agenda. Knowledge is, was, right from the beginning, simply a purpose to control another person, to enslave another person. Why? Because it brings benefits. You have benefits, right? When people blindly listen to you and tend to you in blindness, right, you become a monster. You just take and take and take. You reshape yourself as a parasite. It's an extremely comfortable life, an extremely healthy lifestyle choice. You will get the best food, you will get the best holidays, you will relax, you will have no worry in the world. And if somebody steps out of line, well, you killed them, right? Simple as that. So this entire philosophical principle, and the consequences are that we are coming into new ideas, political ideas, social concept, oh man, communist capitalism, democracy, yeah, it's same old thing, okay? It's just dressed in, it's like a product wrapped in a wrapper. And all you do is you don't change the product, you just go on your local lawn and you find, dog poo in the lawn. What they're doing is just simply is how to sell, okay, a person, a goya, an animal, this able, simple able. How do we sell this beautiful, wonderful product, right? How can we squeeze out the most money out of this person who's not really aware? Well, change the packaging, right? So you're selling the same thing, you're just changing the packaging, right? We had, feudal system, okay? It's kind of like in a poor paper. It's about improving the packaging that is going to create a new consumer perception that is better, their perception of the quality. The marketing rule is, it's not about how much is the product worth, it's about what is it the consumer thinks this product is worth. Okay, you don't look how much really it is worth. What is the consumer thinking about it? So you sell it as something very valuable, and the consumers do what? Well, they fall into the trap. So we need to change all of the psychology. We'll need to return the old philosophical stream or the old philosophy school, which is atomism. Atomism is the basis of the Old Testament. It's the basis as well, provides the basis of the New Testament. I'm kidding you not. You may go into your, Wikipedia and read that atomism, yes, it existed in ancient Greece, but it has fallen, it died, right? Well, yeah, go and read the Aristotle's letter to Alexander's letter to his teacher, and then his teacher responds to Alexander, okay? Now that kind of should really reveal to you what's philosophy about, what philosophy has become, and it has. According to the will of Aristotle, it has become that. Now, to do that, we'll need to go deeply into the concept of information. We need to really identify information for what it is. Then we'll need to, of course, order those things around, so we'll need new terminology to, or new definitions for information, for everything that comes out of it. We'll need to introduce concept, I will need to introduce concept of information verticity, information horizontality, encapsulation, reification, system formation, systems dependence, multidimensional logic, formal logic, multidimensional formal logic. I am really concerned about talking the real basis of mathematics. I will explain it. It's like philosophy. It has no basis, right? Every science needs to have a base measurement. That means it creates a frame of reference. The base measurement also creates the base of the measurement, like number 1 is the base measurement in mathematics. The truth is, 1 is not the base measurement in mathematics. It's called an ID number. And if you ever studied pure mathematics and philosophy of mathematics and philosophy of science, you will come to an understanding that the mathematicians don't have a clue what a number is. So we have this entire system of mathematics not really understanding what a number is. We have a system of economics where economists failed to provide the definition of money. I thought maybe, that would be important if you're dealing with all economics, microeconomics, macroeconomics, that you know what money is. Well, apparently you don't have to do that, right? You have psychology, you don't have base measurement, you have statistics. It's a normative science, it's a quasi-science. It's just simply you create a norm, a flexible kind of a structure where you flex and adjust your base measurement and change the base measurement. So the base measurement changes was Brick-Mays, as I mentioned, gone into Big 5. So, physicists don't know what time is. Well, everybody knows what time is. Well, if you do, please. Sorry, had a bit of a glitch with the camera. So basically, science is based on certain assumptions and consensus. As a matter of fact, what you believe to be absolutely true, like mathematics is the is the queen of all sciences. Well, only if you ever studied pure mathematics and philosophy, you know that it's actually not true, because mathematicians don't have a number. It's simply a system that works, but really going deep into it, nobody knows. So basically, yes, there's a lot of work in front of you. There's a bit of a, Indians say, how do you eat an elephant? Well, you take a knife, a fork, and you take piece by piece. You go slowly, unfortunately, how it's done. So my prayer is with you, you can do it, all right? You're tough, all right? You will make it. So let us begin the, the real study. I'll see you soon.